In 2016, a king lost a fortune on an English beach, and to this day it still sits within the mud. In 1199, King John was crowned as the ruling monarch of England, and it didn't take him long to completely mess everything up. Over the course of his disastrous reign, he caused 2 wars, as well as losing various battles in France, and managed to annoy the entire country. Among his failures was the loss of the crown jewels, and to this day he remains England's only ruler to accidentally lose them. King John was crowned in 1199 and immediately got to work ruining things. He is still considered to be the worst monarch in England's history and did just about everything wrong. His immense greed and lust for power caused problems between the crown and the church, and he imposed heavy taxes on just about everything taxable. The people were running out of money, and the barons were having their land seized because they were not able to pay the taxes. This led to a rebellion in 1215, which King John lost. He was allowed to remain as the ruler of England if he agreed to sign a document called the Magna Carta. This included a series of rules he had to follow in order to keep everyone happy, but this didn't sit well with the king. After signing the document, he tried to increase taxes again straight away. After a series of other poor decisions, he managed to cause a second rebellion within weeks of losing the first one. To speed up the removal of the king, the barons invited the King of France over to take the English crown, and this new French army, combined with the rebelling barons, meant the king's end was certain. During the Second Rebellion, King John didn't have anywhere to stay that would be safe, so he moved around constantly. He was also moving between castles and towns in the east of England to try to collect taxes to pay his mercenary army, which made up the bulk of his forces. For their own safety, or perhaps he just wanted them close by, he had the crown jewels as part of his permanent baggage train. Since no documents remain, it's unknown how big his baggage train was, or how many people he had with him during these journeys, but it's widely believed that several wagons were dedicated to transporting the jewels. They included gold and silver coins, royal documents and records, ornamental weapons and armour, and a number of household valuables such as personal jewellery and decorative ceramic works. As for the loss of the jewels, this happened during a trip between King's Lynn, which was known as Bishop's Lynn at the time, and Lincolnshire. He was trying to secure loyal castles in the area and had to walk around a huge beach in Norfolk known as the Wash. This is an enormous tidal estuary that has 4 major rivers running into it. Its widest point from the sea to the back of the beach is around 15 miles, and the sea comes in faster than most people can walk. During the medieval era, travelling across the Wash could save a couple of days' travel time compared to the roads, but it was risky and known for claiming many lives. As for King John, while he was travelling north towards Lincolnshire, he sent his heavy wagons, including the ones carrying the crown jewels, across the Wash to save time. The wagons were on the flat of the sands when the sea turned and the tide came in. The slow and heavy wagons had to be abandoned as the animals were cut loose, and everyone hurried towards the back of the beach to escape the tide. After waiting for the tide to go back out again, the wagon handlers returned to the site of the baggage caravan to find that all of the heavy goods and treasure had washed away. Only a handful of items could be recovered, but all of the most expensive and important pieces were somewhere below the sands. This is the official explanation of how the crown jewels were lost, and King John was said to be devastated upon learning of what happened. So does this mean that all those expensive items are sitting somewhere under the sands of a beach on the east of England? Well, maybe. There are various versions of the story as to why King John was travelling in the area he was, but all of them lead to him ordering his wagons to go over the Wash to save time instead of staying with him on the road. One of the most popular theories is that the whole thing was set up by King John himself, and there was never any treasure on the wagons. Because he was in such a desperate situation, it's believed he used the treasure to pay for his mercenary army, and didn't want to admit he gave England's crown jewels to foreign troops for hire. The main problem with this theory is that none of the crown jewels were ever found or seen again, and it seems unlikely that all of them disappeared without a single trace, and haven't been seen for over 800 years. Most of the treasure would also be much more valuable in its original form, and melting it down or trading parts of it would have been avoided, yet none of it has been seen. There's the very real chance that the treasure was on the wagons when the tide came in, but could such heavy treasure really disappear with a single turn of the tide? Normally the answer would be no, but the Wash isn't any ordinary beach. It includes miles of mudflats, constantly changing stream networks, and areas of quicksand. Metal of any kind is generally very heavy, especially thick armour or pieces of gold. The waters of the wash create vicious currents, and when the water is in, anything heavy would be washed around until it quickly sank into the sand and mud. There was likely a recovery attempt to find the treasure after it happened, but there's only so much medieval technology can do to recover lost metals washed into the ground, and only the people who were there would know a rough location of where it happened. Over 800 years of tides and ground movement, the original location of the wagons is impossible to even guess at. The geography of the wash would also be very different 800 years ago, but no records survive, or were possibly even made in the first place. There haven't been any official national attempts to find the treasure, mostly because not only are people unsure about it being there in the first place, but no one has any idea where to start looking in such a massive tidal area. Thousands of smaller treasure hunting attempts have been made, but none of them have found any evidence of the crown jewels. This isn't surprising for the area due to the hostile nature of the wash and the depth of the sand and the mud that covers it. So is it realistically possible that King John lost the English crown jewels somewhere on the east coast of England, or is this just a cover-up for one of the worst monarchs the country ever had?